All right, and we're live. So fantastic. So, oh my gosh, yesterday S&P and Nasdaq finished lower for a third day in a row. The Russell rallied since we still have the rotation going on, and then today we had the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, the Core PCE Index, and markets are reacting to this. So. We'll show you what's happening. And with that said, welcome to Coffee with Markus and Mark. And today is Friday, July 26th. And in this show, we are going to talk to you about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading it. And wow, Mark, what a difference a day makes. I mean, after the last few days, look at this. S&P and Nasdaq got hammered. Today, looking a little bit better.
Yeah, nice little bounce gap at the open there. S&P up 1%. You have the Nasdaq up 0.7%. The Dow, though, look at the Dow leading the way up 1.6% today.
Which basically shows that we are still in this rotation from the big tech stocks into just a more broad-based rally. But yeah, also very interesting, looking at the 50-day moving average in the S&P. Look at that. I mean, bouncing off this morning. Yesterday, we finished below the 50-day moving average. Right now, it seems to hold.
Yeah, holding up nicely. And even though it's been a rough week, nice day here. I saw that this week the only two winners, the only two sectors in positive territory for the S&P 500, healthcare and utilities. And that also kind of shows that rotation away from these mega cap players. Today, though, it looks like a lot of green just across the board.
A lot of green pretty much in all sectors, a more broad-based rally, with the exception of Google, and we'll talk about this. But let's talk what's driving today's rally. And this is the news that we had this morning on the economic front.
Yeah, and this just it might give traders just a bit of a sigh of relief here, seeing that Core PCE price index, the Fed's favorite measure or gauge of inflation, coming out in line with expectations.
Yeah, slightly higher than the previous month, but in line with expectations. Personal spending in line with expectations, and personal income, that's kind of good news, going down, which means that, companies are paying less, it seems, right? So that wages are still decreasing, which puts pressure on the jobs market.
Yeah, year over year up 2.5%, which is close to what the Fed wants to see.
Yeah, and I think more importantly is we see the trend here, right? I mean, after we
Yep.
have been stalling here for most of the year, we are now pointing lower again. And we see that, in 2022, it has been as high as 7%. And yeah, the Fed's or Powell's goal is to bring it back to 2%. And they said that they don't have to wait until this is down to 2%, that they are willing to cut rates earlier. And I do believe what we see here this morning, that first of all, personal income is down, meaning that, okay, there's probably some pressure on the labor market. And next week, we will have the jobs report and inflation coming down. This means that the Fed should lower interest rates.
It is a perfect setup for the Fed to cut rates, and the markets are higher, yields are down, and looking pretty good. Now, one thing that was interesting, though, yeah, this would be, we could take a look at the probabilities here.
Yeah. So let's see what the probabilities are now. Still, nobody believes that the Fed is doing anything next week. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that these odds haven't increased. I would think with all the good news that we have here, with the pressure on the jobs market, where Powell has said, hey, listen, if we see that the jobs market, the labor market is softening, we will take action. We have seen the labor market softening. What we saw here today is just another indication. But again, jobs report next Friday after the Fed meeting. But Mark, I'm honestly surprised that we don't have a higher probability that the Fed might lower interest rates at this meeting next week.
Yeah, and I can't remember if historically it's kind of the summer, not a whole lot of policy decision going on. That might not be true, but you're right, Marcus. There's a lot of data to support a cut coming soon, and especially with the Fed funds futures being overly optimistic for much of this, rate hiking campaign, and then the potential to cut rates. I agree that it's a little surprising nobody, or at least the probabilities aren't changing that much.
Yeah, because the September meeting is 7 weeks away. That's a long time. That's a long time. So this means that we will also have two jobs reports. We will have at least one more reading, maybe two even, of the core PCE. We'll definitely have two readings of CPI and PPI. And I think, I don't know. I mean, based on the data, I think the Fed should take action sooner. But as I said, they might not be inclined to do this during summertime.
it it also seems like there shouldn't be any surprises with those numbers, those reports. You never know. You never know. But it seems like if anything, there could be a job surprise, right? Either much better job numbers, which support a cut, or maybe much worse job numbers. Rather than, I don't think we're going to get any big inflation surprises during those next two releases.
Yeah, but Paul said if we are on our way, we are willing to lower interest rates. And I mean, right now, they have data and they should have enough data to say, yes, we are on our way. Well, glad that I don't have to make these policy decisions. Interesting also, the Russell, look at this. The Russell on pace for a third winning week in a row. I mean, that's quite something for the Russell.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, when we were in Barcelona, we introduced a wheel version of trading IWM because we recognized that this was a safer ETF to be trading the wheel on. And maybe we should have just bought it.
We could have just
We
bought
were
it,
right
right?
about it being safer and great at these levels, but gosh, I mean, just look at that upside.
Yeah. Also, the VIX moving lower again. I mean, yesterday, after moving as high as, let's see, we were at 1936 today, back down to 1704, down almost 8% for the day.
Yeah, and I do like these levels. It gets back to averages that we see typically, over like a 10-year period or more. So, hanging out around 17, between 15, 17 and a half will be nice if it stays at these levels.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have to take a look at Google. I mean, Google kind of sticking out like a thumb together with Walmart and Tesla. And I mean, Walmart, I know that Costco reported earnings today. I wonder if they announced something that pushes Walmart down. Tesla, I mean, Tesla is just a wild animal going up and down like crazy. I mean, let's forget about this. But Google just can't catch a break. Let's take a look at Google because it already got hammered after earnings here. Look at this. Today, down again, even though right now it is clawing back some of the losses that it was experiencing earlier.
Yeah, this will be interesting here because there's the earnings reaction. We've talked about that over the last couple of days, but now OpenAI is launching their SearchGPT. This has the potential to disrupt some of Google's market share, you could say.
Right. So is this the Google killer? I mean, we know that Google has a lot of divisions. This is why they rebranded themselves as Alphabet. And we know that just the Google search engine and the revenue that they're deriving from there is just a lot. And we already heard on the Google earnings, okay, the YouTube revenue is not where it's supposed to be. So ads on YouTube, probably because, I don't know, TikTok might be gaining market share. No idea. Haven't looked into this. But now OpenAI says, all right, you know what? We will have a way better search engine than Google. And I think I'm surprised that the markets are not reacting stronger to this because think about it. When Google came out, remember back in the days, all the search engines that we had? We had what? Ask Jeeves. Remember that one? We had, of course, Yahoo. We had what? AOL as a search engine. What else? What were the good old search engines? I mean, help us out here in the comments. What were the search engines that we had before Google? Do you remember?
I mean, I think of Ask Jeeves,
Yeah.
and there's one other one, old school, but I'm drawing a blank. But Marcus, I agree that now you're right about Alphabet, right? There's multiple companies now involved or businesses, right? And so at some point, you have to look at the entirety of what makes up Alphabet. But I think that even Chat GPT, sure, there's this AI boom, and more and more people are using Chat GPT, and it's now a household name. But like when we were in Barcelona, and you were using it to find what to do in the area and find restaurants, and it learning, responding to your feedback, and now I'm using it the same way because you could search something in Google and basically go through maybe 10 sources trying to find something, or you could just ask a question and get an instant answer with Chat GPT. With Search GPT tying into that, I just think more and more users using it make Google not necessarily obsolete, but big change for Google.
I mean, Google has to really right now step it up, bring out their Gemini included in this because we know what happened to all of the other search engines. Google came along, had a better algorithm, helped people to find what they were looking for, and all of these died within 12 to 18 months.
Yeah,
Now, as you said, I mean, we talked about it. We have been using ChatGPT a lot for our searches. Right now, a little bit challenging that it doesn't include the real-time data, but
sure.
it can do it now with the Search GPT. And this is where, could this be the Google killer? Again, I am very bullish on OpenAI and ChatGPT, and I'm getting a little bit more bearish on Google because they can't pull their head out of their buttocks, it seems. They're just too big.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
it's going to be interesting.
We can talk about this forever and a day. And we want to talk about our positions here. Let's take a look at the WTF analyzer. And we did have an exit today. Schwab, we exited this morning. So Schwab gone right now. Exited this for a profit. So as you can see, this was a sell to close. So another winning trade here with WTF.
Yeah, and this one was nice because we had a win based on the original signal, but then there were quite a few people, us included in our mastermind group, that picked up shares at a lower price, and that was a nice win with the pickup around what 62.90, I think it was.
Yeah.
So either way, nice win.
All right, and then we still have our 4 open positions, and we do have AMAT and AMAT today a little bit recovering. Let me just bring up the live data here. Apparently, I didn't hit refresh earlier. Here we go. So we are up 1.5% or 1.5% for the day. So still underwater here, but we also added to this position at a lower point. So let's see. My break even on this one is 216. So we're still below my break even here. So 216, but hey, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, needs to move. It's paused a little bit though.
Yeah. So AMD also this morning, I mean, made a move higher right now, pulling back a little bit. So right now up 0.6%. I'm not surprised by this, especially since we do have NVIDIA moving today again. And NVIDIA, it's only up 1.3%. I think earlier it was up at much at 3%. So it seems that it's also pulling back
Yeah.
a little bit. So we'll see what happens here. CG, I can't remember. Did you get into this one?
Yeah, I bought shares of CEG. I was filled at 175.08.
Oh, okay. So slightly down here for you. And then we also have MU. And MU also moving a little bit lower today at 108. And I think this is also one that you picked up, right?
Yeah, I picked up some more shares at 109.52. So no exit yet.
Yeah. And then we had three new entry signals. We had Google, Alphabet, with both ticker symbols, Google and Goog. And so these were, I know we were slightly out of sync. You picked up Goog, I picked up Google. I mean, the main difference is one is preferred shares, the other is regular shares. Otherwise, I don't think it really matters. But this is right now trading at around our entry price.
Yeah, they're Marcus, go to the correlation tool. Like we have the asset correlation tool in PowerX Optimizer, so we could see just how stocks move together and if they're correlated. And here, if you look at Google and Goog, it has a correlation of 1, meaning it's a perfect correlation, which would be expected, right? So it doesn't matter if you trade Google or Goog. Now, if you want the right to vote, then you want to pick up Google. Otherwise, Goog is Class C with no voting rights. But for trading purposes, that doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, so we're good here. So yeah, I mean, this is looking good. We'll see what happens. Okay, and another one
Yeah.
popping up here, Honeywell. And Honeywell, I mean, after reporting earnings yesterday, dipping. Today, it popped up as an oversold situation. We picked it up at 203. Right now, it's trading around 201. So slightly down here, but bouncing nicely off the 200-day moving average. So with that, we picked up another two stocks today.
Yeah, yesterday I was looking at Honeywell as a possible Google as a possible wheel trade, and I don't mix the two strategies, but it was kind of nice to see it pop up yesterday, and for me to considering it, Honeywell being a good company, and then popping up as a WTF today, trading it as a WTF, not a wheel at this
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. So, loving this. This all looks good. Let's hop over to our wheel positions and looking at our portfolio. First up, CSIQ and CSIQ having another good day today after already being up yesterday. Uh, Actually, geez, 2% today, another move of being up 4%. So we talked about it very nicely, obeying this line here. Now we have to break above 18. We're trading at 16.90, so close to 17. Loving it, CSIQ. This is where we want it to go.
Yeah, time to
All
move.
right. Halliburton, Halliburton, Halliburton. We shall see. I mean, this is a little bit all over the place. So we got assigned at 34.50. I already got a called away with half of my shares last week. You sold calls at 34.50, and this week you were able to double dip. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I was able to sell calls on Monday and I got 35 cents. I bought those back for 4 cents, locking in 31-cent profit. And then I was actually able to sell the 34.50. Not for, I looked at it for today's expiration, but it made more sense to go out to next expiration. So since I didn't have calls, I sold 34.50 calls on half of my position, got 40 cents there, and
Nice.
right now just waiting.
So you got 34 plus 40. So this week alone, 74 bucks per option that you traded.
Yeah, bringing down the break even nicely.
Very nice. Very nice. Loving that. So we'll see. I mean, what happens today? Probably nothing because you're not getting called away since we do have another week here. Coles up today, 1.6%. I got assigned at 21.50. Still trying to sell calls at 21.50. We talked about it. Probably has to move up towards 21. So maybe there's a possibility later today or early next week. Finally, on our list, UPS up again today. Yesterday, finishing slightly lower, down 1.3%. Today, up 1.3%. So, super interesting. Trading at 128 right now after this massive drop in earnings. And right now, nothing to do for us just here.
Yeah, two things though, Marcus. Going back to Coles, you were assigned at 21.50.
Yep.
And did you know that for next week there's 30% annualized at the 2150 strike?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I did not. So I might
So
sell calls here after the show.
yeah, something to take a look at. And then there was one more wheel trade this week, and that was Ford.
Ford, you did this. I tried to enter it, wasn't able to do it. You sold the 11. Now, yesterday it was a little bit all over the place, and I know that you were looking at possibly buying back the calls that you sold for 80% of max profit. Have you been able to do so?
Nope, I still have those put. So
Okay.
right now, looking like it's going to expire worthless unless there's a bigger slide going into the close. Got as low as 11.05 today. Right now, trading at 11.18. So if it closes below 11, I'll get assigned. If it stays above 11, they expire worthless and frees up some more buying power for next week.
Yeah, we know that the 11 level has been really, really good for the past few years, since mid 2022. So, I mean, very, very much like this trade. So, uh, I tried to get in yesterday. Didn't, but I'm okay. I mean, this is where I have calls. You might or might not get assigned, or we'll see what to do there. Anyhow, so lots of good trades going on here. So there's lots of action. I mean, both in the WTF strategy and the wheel strategy. Now, there's one more thing that we want to talk about in just a moment. And before we do this, it is Friday, and it's the time of the day, it's the time in the show to tell another dad joke. So, Mark Hodge, what do you got for us?
Have a good one, Marcus.
Oh, shoot. Okay, because I have an okay one.
What is the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One is very heavy, and the other is a little lighter.
All right. That is a good one. That is a good one. All right. Here's mine. So a penguin walks into a bar and asks, "Has my brother been here?" And the bartender says, "Not sure. What does he look like?" Yes, no, maybe? All right. Jeez,
I mean,
hard to
if
get
you watch,
a chuckle out of you. Boy, what do I
if you
need to
get if you
do?
watch Cold Feet or Animal Planet, that probably makes a little more sense. Which I'm with you. I get it.
No, okay.
Wait, are we
All right,
talking about Batman though, or no, kidding?
all right. Let's take a quick look at GM. I'm a little bit surprised. So GM today down 0.1%. But did you see the big reveal from GM? I think it was yesterday.
No.
They have a new Chevy Corvette with a
Oh wow.
1,000+ horsepower. I mean, it's like, what? 1,000 horsepower? I mean,
Wow.
I'm not the biggest fan of Corvettes, but I thought 1,000 horsepower is a lot, isn't it?
That is a ton. That is a ton. And I think that the Dodge Demon might have been the most stock horsepower before that, and that blows it out of the water.
Yeah. But here's why I think today the price of GM is falling. Look at this. A Corvette SUV has been under consideration for several years. Please don't do this. GM, please, no. I mean, please. I mean, it's one or the other.
Stay in your
Right? I mean,
lane.
either do an SUV. You have the Chevy Tahoe. You have the whole Chevy lineup of SUVs. Please don't turn this car into an SUV. I mean, just don't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Final look at where we are for today. So, looking at a 5-minute chart of the S&P 500. And we see that we are trading at highs of the day, but opening higher right now, just diddling along. Same for the Dow, opening higher, trading towards highs of the days, but no real momentum right now. Same with the Nasdaq, opening higher, diddling along around the opening price. So we don't see a lot of follow-up today, and I'm not surprised because after a volatile week like this, where it was a roller coaster, I mean, if you can just zoom in here for a moment on the Nasdaq, and we see on Monday and Tuesday, we were moving higher again. Then on Wednesday, the massive drop after Google and Tesla disappointed earnings. Yesterday, a follow through, and today, a slight rebound. But I think that traders are just ready for a break and say, you know what, let's just have an early weekend here. Let's just drop the mic and be done with it. And let's regroup next week and see what's happening, especially since next week we have more earnings reporting. So look ahead really, really quick. Next week, Mark, we have some major earnings, right?
Busy week for earnings.
Yeah, and especially since we have more of the Magnificent Seven reporting earnings. So we do have Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Apple. So we had 2 this week. Next week, another 4. So this makes it 6. And then, of course, also next week, looking at the economic calendar, we do have on Wednesday the Fed meeting, where we will learn more about what they are thinking and probably getting a little bit better idea what will happen for the remainder of the year in terms of interest rates.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So as you can see, there's a lot going on, so make sure that you tune in next week. If you like today's show, do us a favor and give us a like. We really appreciate it. If you think that this was great information that you would like to share with others, there's a share button right underneath that makes it easy for you to share this content. And then if it's your first time here and you want to be part of it next week again, click on the subscribe button and hit the little notification bell. This way you get notified whenever we go live again. Until then, have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.
Happy trading, everybody.